and creating the SaaS AI app. So what we have been doing so far, and that you can see in the other video, is that we are currently working on the sidebar. So we have the great AI here and the logo, and we have the dashboard with this icon, and you can click on the dashboard, and we have this hover effect. And we will now go on with the video of Code with Antonio, where he talks about how to build a SaaS AI app. And we do this here in Visual Studio Code, so we basically will follow him step by step. And the last thing that we did was that we created these here, the roots map, which I, to be honest, don't 100% understand. But we will go deeper into this afterwards, and I think it will become more clear more and more the more we do this. So we also have ChatGPT here, which I use from time to time. So whenever I have questions or things that I'm not 100% sure, I will just put it in. So as an example, what we could do is, we can have here the div. So we are here in this component sidebar and then roots map callback. So the sidebar TSX. So what we could be doing is, for example, that we take here this div and we just say, okay, let's put the whole div in here. And we can just put this in here and we can say, can you explain how this works and what it means code-wise for an absolute beginner? We might need to do this with ChatGPT 4 because this normally is a bit better, but we can also check how it is with this one. So let's see what it comes up, and we see it comes up with a lot of things. So let's quickly see. So it says, certainly in code you've provided is written in JSX, which is often used with VX, a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. Let's break down what this code does and explain it for an absolute beginner. So that's good because I am an absolute beginner. So div class name equals space 11. This is an HTML div element, which is a container with a class name attribute. In React, class name is used to apply CSS classes to an element. Here it's using the class space y1, which suggests that it might add a vertical spacing between its child elements. So I think this is what Antonio said in his video as well. So it's basically this space that is like equally spaced between the different elements in the navbar. Then roots map root. This is JavaScript code enclosed in curly braces within the JSX code. Okay, it's using the map function to iterate over an array called roots. For each root in the roots array, it generates some JSX code based on the root information. Okay, so it's kind of like as it says, an iterative, it's using the map to kind of iterate over an array. Link, href, root, key. Inside the mapping function, this is creating a link element. It has an href attribute that is set to the href property of the current root object. And the key attribute is used to uniquely identify elements in a list of components and it's set to the href as well. Okay, the class name attribute of the link element contains a long string of CSS classes. These classes are used to style the link. Here's a breakdown of some of the classes. Text and apps sets the text size to small, so text small. Group, likely part of a CSS framework that defines special styles for elements within the group class. Flex makes the link a flex container. P3 also adds padding of 3 units around the link. Width full sets the width of the link to 100% of its container. Justify start aligns the content inside the link to the start of the flex container, left in most cases. Font medium sets the font weight to medium. Cursor pointer changes the cursor to a pointer, usually a hand, when hovering over the link. We can quickly see what it does. Here, see, now it's a mouse, and now it becomes a hand. Then hover text white, hover background white 10, changes the text color to white and adds a background color when hovering over the link. Rounded LG rounds the corners of the link to make it look like a rounded rectangular. So we can check. See, it's a bit rounded here. And then transition applies a smooth transition effect for changes and styles. Div class name flex items center. Inside the link, there's another div element with a set of CSS classes. This div is a flex container and aligns its children vertically centered. Item center, the flex1 class makes it take up the available space within the parent element. Okay. Root icon, class name. This is rendering an icon associated with the current root. The icon's appearance is determined by CSS classes and potentially the root color property. The cend function is likely used to conditionally apply classes based on certain conditions. Root label. This displays the label associated with the current root. In summary, this code is dynamically generating a list of links based on the roots array and applying various CSS classes to style the links and their contents. It's a common pattern in React for creating dynamic user interfaces. Okay, I think we have to do this a tiny bit more often to really get it, but here's some understanding. So let's go on with the tutorial, where I follow the tutorial via my iPad, and you can listen in, or otherwise it says not charging. Okay, wait a second. It says it's not charging, which is not really great because we have almost like no battery left. And it really has to charge, but it's not charging. So we have to make a short break in the video, and then we are back while we apply and get here the internet and the electricity for our iPad. So sorry for the noise in the video, but yeah, let's get started. And we have here our iPad video in full mode. If you want to follow along, we are now at minute 58:22, and we go on. So we are in, let me quickly see where we are. href class name here. So we are basically in this class name here. And we have font medium. I think we went a tiny bit back because let's quickly see. So link, it's roots map, it's links, it's href, and key or href key class name. And then we have text sm. And then we go on. And this I think we have, let's see.
Cover is also going to be bg-white/10, meaning we are giving it an opacity, rounded-lg, and transition at the end like that. So now if you hover, you see you have a nice effect.
Okay, so basically what it says, what he said is that the 10 is a bit of, how do you say this, transparency. And so that's what we're seeing here in the app, that there is a bit of transparency here. So let's go on.
For each of your route. Great. So now what we can do is we can go back to our routes and actually create the rest of the routes. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and copy this.
Okay, so now what we do is we do the additional routes. So we have here one route. So he wants to have now a second route. So we basically just take this piece and do a copy paste of this piece. And now we need to change things.
And for my second route, I'm going to name this conversation.
So he now wants to have this conversation.
I'm going to change the icon to be message square from Lucid React, which I've imported it.
Okay, so he wants to have the icon as a message square. And how he want to have it here is that he put import layout and then comma message square from Lucid React. Then href probably is also conversation.
Top right here, great. And I'm going to change the color to be violet like this. Great.
Text violet. So what we have to do is we have file, save all, and here in the terminal we need to start the local host again because we basically have stopped this because we made a stop in the video as well. So we do npm, I always forget if it's one dev or dev1, but let's see. Yeah, it's one dev. So now we see here we have the local host. So we can just go on. And now it takes a bit of time because it needs to initialize when it needs to get started. But if we make it all correct, it might be that we're not logged in, so we have to log in again. And I hope I remember my password, but I think I do. Okay, we are still logged in, and now we have the conversation here. But we have still the href goes to dashboard, but I think that's fine. I'm just wondering, oh, we have conversation, probably because this is one of the AI tools that we're using, but let's go on.
Now let's copy this again, and for the third route, let's write.
Okay, so he wants to have a third one, so we do again like this, and then we do copy again.
Image generation.
So now we have image generation. And then
like that. And let's give this an icon of image icon from Lucid-React.
Okay, now he wants to have this one, image icon. And then again here, we need to have image icon here to import. And then probably he wants to change the color, but let's see what color he wants to have.
So these are my icons so far. I have an image icon, I have layout and dashboard, and
so what he's doing here is make this a bit different. So he basically says, I do image icon, I do layout dashboard, and I do message square.
message square from Lucid.
And then
React like that. And let's go ahead and change the color of this to pink.
I'm not sure if I have to make a comma here, but we will find out this soon if it doesn't work.
$700.
Pink, and he says 700.
That great. Let's copy this again and
So let's do file, save all. Now we have image generation. Now we do the whole thing again. Now we have
name this video generation.
Now we have video generation.
Let's use the video icon.
Now it's a video icon. So now we need to
again from Lucid React right here. And let's change the color of this to orange 700 like that.
Okay, now he wants to have the color text orange 700. Nice. Now we have video generation.
I'm gonna copy it 2 more times.
Okay, he wants to copy 2 more times. So 1 and then another one.
So this one is going to be music generation and it's gonna have an icon.
So we do video generation, then we do music generation.
Called music. So just go ahead and import.
Then the icon is called music, which, oh, that's wrong. Music, which we need to update here again. We can check that again. See, now that's the point, because we need to video file save all, and then we can do that. Now we have music generation and video, but we need the music. It's a different color.
From Lucid React as well, and change the color of this to Emerald 500.
Okay, so this is text 500 Emerald. File, save all. Now this is green. And now we have this one, the last one.
Like that. Perfect. And last one is going to be code generation.
And then we have video, and then we have code generation.
Not last one, we also have settings. So this one is going to have an icon of code, so you can import that from Lucid React as well, like that.
And then we want to have an icon that's code. And again, we need to put this up here. And then the color.
And give it the color of green 700.
And this one gets green 700. File, save all. And then we can, nice. I mean, these look really similar, but I think we can keep it for now. I mean, we can play around with it later.
That. And our last one is going to be simple.
Oh, we have one more. So
just going to be settings. Icon is going to be set.
So this is just label settings.
This as well. So make sure you.
Icon is settings. And then we need to bring settings down here. File, save all.
For that from Lucid React as well, it's not going to have any color like this. The settings icon is going to be settings as well. So make sure you import that from Lucid React as well. It's not going to have any color like this.
Okay, and it doesn't have any color. So file, save all. Let's do this. Okay, this is the white color. Nice. So now we have a dashboard. It actually looks quite nice, I think.
Perfect. So that looks much better now. And what I want to do now is just change each of their routes. So dashboard is fine.
Okay, now he wants to change the routes. So that's something we haven't done yet, right? Because we haven't, I mean, the dashboard, that makes fine, but like for all the other ones, not yet.
Conversation is going to lead to /conversation.
Okay, conversation leads to, okay, that makes sense. So conversation.
Generation is going to lead to /image. Don't worry about
image goes to image.
This is just hot reload adding. You can refresh and it's going to be normal, so don't worry about that. For video is going to be /video. For music is going to be.
So this one is video. And the next one is very likely music.
/music. For code is going to be /code, and settings is going to be /settings like.
Okay, and then this one is code, and this one will be settings.
and just refresh all of this so you don't have those things. Great. And now if you try and click on something other than dashboard, you're going to get a 404 because none of those routes exists yet, but they are going to exist in the future. Perfect. So now we actually have our working sidebar. What I want to do now is I want to enable it on mobile as well. Because if you go ahead and collapse, you only have the toggle button, but no sidebar opening. So let's see how we can do that. Let's go back inside of our navbar component. So I'm going to find it like this. It's inside of your...
Okay, so what he says now, let's first save it all. Then we do a quick refresh, and here we have it. But now if we go for conversation, we will get a 404 because the page just does not exist yet. So what he says now is, what if we go for our mobile version? On our mobile version, we have a toggle, but we have no sidebar yet. So we basically need to add the sidebar when we click on this toggle bar, and we don't have this here yet. So what we will be doing is that we will basically add this now, and we have to go to the navbar. So we have to go to our here navbar.tsx. So components navbar. So here we are, and here we need to change something. So let's go and do that.
Components folder right here. And what you want to do now, I'm still going to expand this just like this. What you want to do now is you want to replace this entire thing with its own component.
Okay, so he wants to replace the button plus the menu with a component. Interesting. Why? I don't know why, but let's see.
Copy this button which holds the menu icon, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new component.
Okay, so basically we have to copy that. Then we go to components. We create a new component
called mobile-sidebar.
New file, mobile-sidebar.tsx probably.
.esx, like this. So let me just show you the name, mobile-sidebar. Make sure it's use client, and let's just quickly add.
Okay, add, and now we have to do use client, and then again this constant equals, and then this curly brackets, and then return, and then this, and then here the export default, and then the constant
for that. So mobile sidebar like that.
Okay, constant mobile sidebar, and then we have to put this sidebar here as well.
It's not going to have any props for now, and you can go ahead.
Okay, and in the return, in there, we put kind of this. Okay.
And just paste this inside and make sure you add the from UI button like this, but I'm going to replace it with component.
Okay, and now we need to import this. So import button from, and then we can do add components .ui .button, and now this disappeared. Now we probably have to do the same thing with the menu.
And menu from Lucid React like that.
And then we have to use, I think there is a way that you can do this more quicker, to be honest, because he's kind of using this in a way that he automatically does the import. But for now we don't do this because I need to practice. I need to, learn how it's done. This from, or maybe because we haven't, from import menu from Lucid React. Now it's fine.
I like to separate my imports. Great, now we have that mobile sidebar, and now we can back inside of navbar and
okay, now we have kind of this, and now what he says, let's save this, and now he said let's go to navbar. So basically that's the mobile sidebar. Now the navbar.
place this with mobile.
And now he says instead of this one, so we replace this, take this out, and instead we do mobile sidebar. Not sure if that's correct.
Sidebar like this and import it either from /sub.
Oh, and then we need to import this as well. Ah, that's interesting. So that's the first time I did this. So basically what we did now, I just wrote it and took it from the things that it gave me as an idea to use. And so it automatically imported the mobile sidebar, but with a dot. So instead of the dot, I think we can also use this add components.
Or I like to use.
So we, instead of this one, because we keep it consistent as he said as well, we use this one.
Components like this, and you can remove the import from menu.
Okay, and he says we can remove the import menu, and we can also the button because we don't need that anymore.
Like that. Great, and now make sure you are in mobile view.
Okay, now he says, so what exactly do we do? So we created this mobile sidebar. So we have one sidebar here that basically includes all of those things and all the labels and everything, and the mobile sidebar. Now we are in the mobile sidebar. So basically instead of having the menu and the button in there, we have now the menu and the button in our mobile sidebar. And then we have a constant, which is basically this ghost size icon. And now in the navbar, we just put here constant navbar, navigation bar. So here we have the flex item center, and then we have the mobile sidebar. Interesting. I'm just getting confused, like now where we have a sidebar and we have a mobile sidebar, why the navbar now is only focused on the mobile sidebar. But let's see.
Because we're going to work on mobile now. So either zoom in the page or collapse your screen so you don't see the sidebar and you see the toggle button. Great. So we can continue working in. Okay,
now he says to see what we are doing, we have to do it that way. So here for now, let's quickly file save all we did this. Okay, so that's probably the reason we just cleaned it in a way, I guess. But we haven't done anything with it because here, it's still just look like a toggle. So let's go on. So we have to go now into navbar. There we are in the navbar.
The mobile sidebar now. So we're going to close everything besides that. What we have to do now is...
Okay, he wants to close it all. I don't know why, but probably just because we have... Okay, we want to have the mobile sidebar, but we don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need the navbar. We don't need release notes, no middleware, no layout, no page, no this, no this. Oh, there's a lot of open. inf the page GSX, so only the mobile sidebar.
Have to add a specific component from ShadCN. So go ahead and go inside ShadCN library.
Okay, so he says now we have to go to ShadCN library. I have to make this bigger first because otherwise I don't see anything. I think we have this open, the UI ShadCN. So let's see what he wants.
So either use the Google or link in the description. Go inside.
Okay. Components.
And let's find the component we need, which is a sheet. So you can see.
Okay, so he wants to have a sheet. What's a sheet? That it basically, like when we have the toggle, that when we click on the toggle, this thingy opens.
It works. It opens like a drawer on the side, which is exactly what we want. And the way we install that is by using npx shadcn-u.
Okay, so we want to install that. Copy paste this npm.
Add latest add sheet. So I'm going to click copy. I'm going to select npm. I'm going into my terminal. I will shut down the app and.
Okay, so we will close the app, which is Control-C, and it asks us, and we say yes. And then we add here this thingy.
We need to press enter. And I'm just going to confirm this installation by pressing Y.
Do we have to here's to confirm the installation? Let's see if we have to do this here as well. Currently, we don't have to do anything because nothing happens. It's just loading or whatever it does. So this apparently takes some time. It looks like basically nothing happens. Interesting. It doesn't even think like as if it's loading.
There we go. So now it's installing Sheet. Great. And after a couple of seconds, we can run the app.
Okay, it basically doesn't do anything for us. So we don't do Control-C. We can't even do Control-C. Okay, interesting. Let's use another PowerShell. Not sure if that's a good idea, but we can just try this out. Doesn't work. Let's copy that. npm. Okay, somehow this takes ages. Just clear this. We just do a new one. Now this looks better. Now let's do this. Now I have to yawn because I really don't know why this takes so long. Very unclear about it. Okay, we have to wait a second. Then here import, and we see already like import sheet, sheet content, sheet description, sheet header, sheet title, sheet trigger. And that's probably, let's do an example. Use the side property to sheet content to indicate the edge of the screen where the component will appear. So top. So we probably want to have it on the left-hand side, that it's toggling in, the bottom or the right, but that's so cool. And then we can also adjust the size. So sheet content class name, how big we probably want to have it. And that's so cool. But I'm really wondering how it's just not loading. Let's ask ChatGPT about this. In the Visual Studio Code terminal PowerShell, and it takes ages and does not do anything. Why and how can I make sure I get that installed? Okay, internet connection. Yeah, I think this should be fine. Use npm registry. By default, npx and npm use the npm registry to download packages. If the shade library is hosted on a different registry, you might need to specify that registry. Okay, let's make this. Okay, it apparently doesn't do anything, irrespective of what I do. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's do network, but I mean, ChatGPT is able to answer us, right? So the question is, if it is able to answer us, then we should also be able to get this. So let's close that. We don't need that anymore. For now, we also don't need that. That's the library. Yeah, we don't need this because this is not, so it got this one. Let's see, check network connection, try a different mirror. The issue might be related to a slow, unreliable mirror. You can try switching to different, okay, no, we don't do this. Okay, file, save. So now let's use whatever, let's just use the command prompt just out of interest. And then let's do it again. npm, we put this in, we press enter. Let's see what happens. Okay, to proceed, yes. Okay, so maybe it doesn't work with PowerShell, but it works with Node. Whatever, it works. Oh. Okay, maybe we have to install a different Next.js app. A version, I mean. because now I have a version canary, which maybe is not the right one, so maybe we have to use a different version. Okay, so let's do this. So let's see. Okay, so let's ask this. So I installed a canary version of Next to my project, but I would like to use a stable Next version. How can I change the version of Next in my project? Within which lines of code do I have to input into my terminal? Okay, so let's go to package JSON. And now we can see Next basically okay, open your project's package JSON file in the code editor or text editor and locate the next entry in the dependencies section. So this is here. Replace the current version with a stable version you want to use. For example, to use the latest stable version, you can find the latest version on the Next.js GitHub releases page. Save the changes. After updating the version, save the package JSON file. Open your terminal or command prompt and navigate to the root directory of your project. Then run the following command to update your project's dependencies to the new Next.js version. This will update the Next.js package to the version specified in your package JSON file. Verify the version change. Okay, so we need Next.js latest stable version. I don't know, deploy maybe? Maybe we just have to go to Next.js. Okay, could unable to resolve dependency tree by resolving my app found next. Okay, maybe docs. Maybe here. So we say next JS versions. Okay, let's see. So this is Canary 30, that's the one we currently have. Okay. Okay, so we do this now. Open with text editor. Or maybe I can just change this here. Let's see. So version 14.04, file, save all. And then let's see. So now we would need to do terminal, then run the following command to update your projects. So let's see what happens now. See, these are these things, especially when you have no clue about programming, which become a bit weird because you really have to, like just kind of trust these systems and try to, move around, even though you have no clue if this actually will work out and if this kind of, reduces the wrong dependencies, even though you don't even know, like where is exactly the problem now that this one thing doesn't work with the other one. So I just try to understand that the canary ones are ones that are not that stable yet. So they're just, how do you say this? They're just experimenting maybe and just making small updates until they make a really small, like stable version, next stable version. So that's the reason why now we're trying this version. But if it doesn't work, then we can try to go to Next.js 13, because I think this is what he uses in the video as well, in the video tutorial. But this obviously would mean that we don't have and profit from the newest versions. But at the same time, I guess for this project, it doesn't really matter. But this is interesting to know that if it doesn't work with all of them, we basically have to make sure that there are not kind-specific errors between these different packages, which obviously, if we look at what we all have here, there are quite a lot of dependencies, to be honest. But it's still loading, so it looks a bit better. So let's just hope that this solves the dependencies here. And if not, we have to try something else. But the good thing is that for this one, it's not at least giving us errors the moment it starts thinking about it or like working on it, but it actually still works. So this might give us a bit more maybe confidence that the NPM update, or like, let's say the version that we are choosing here in the JSON, becomes a bit easier. Or not easier, but, might be a better version to use. So I also was, when I re-uploaded or like reinstalled Next.js, I was a bit unsure if I should really use the Canary one. I mean, I personally prefer to always use the most, the latest version, but maybe especially for projects, yeah, you don't want to do this. So this looks perfect. So I'm really happy now, because now it basically says looking for funding, whatever that means. I'm looking for funding. Okay, so we can say this seems to have worked by me using not a canary version of the Next.js package, but a stable version. But what is it about the NPM fund and that 133 packages are looking for funding? So let's see. Oh, okay. See, that's an interesting thing. We are learning something new. So it says basically the message you received after running npm update is related to npm's built-in tool for checking and raising awareness about open source packages that are looking for funding. Here's what it means. npm fund. This message suggests running the command npm fund to get details about open source packages that are seeking financial support or funding. It's a way for maintainers for these packages to raise awareness about their funding needs. Okay, this is really nice. Currently, I don't have money to buy the site, but if I will, then if I will be successful with what I do here, then I'm really likely to support here as well. Okay. Okay, I think that this is actually really good. So we solved this. So while we solved this, which is great, we can now go back to Shadesien. So we can actually close all of these. We don't need them. Here we have our Vercel localhost open. Now we don't need Next.js. We don't need Vercel Next.js. We don't need this. We need Shade. So now let's see if this works now. Not sure about it. Okay, because we already kind of installed it, so it already exists. So that's perfect. So now we have installed this component, which we find here with the sheet. So now we can go on with the tutorial. So let's go and make this working again.
So if you shut down the app, just make sure you refresh your application so it's up to date and collapse it, of course, on the mobile view.
Okay, now he wants us to start the local host again so that we can basically see what we are creating here. And we have to put this a bit here on that side. But it's, we are not in it, so we need to npm one dev. And now it is running. We can make it like this. And now we are back in the game. So what we don't want to do, right, we have the Shadesien here, and we have now that we want to have this coming from the left and then have this really nice thing moving in. So that's so great because I have been, it's like a little bit of a side story, but I have been working at a startup and supporting them in the sense that, basically developing this SaaS platform further. And I did a bit of project management and competitor analysis there as well. And while I did that, he created those Figma wireframes and clickable frames to basically show the developer of what he wants to have developed. And I always found this so fascinating of how you can basically programming this and how you can build this. And now it seems we are building it. So this is so cool. So let's go on and see how it is done and how to use those components.
Perfect. And now what you're going to do is you're going to add this sheet.
So now we are in the mobile sidebar. So we're not in the package JSON, but let's quickly save all we did this so we can close it. And now in the mobile sidebar, we have the button, but above the button, we do one more. And it's on the same level as sheet.
Component from ./UI sheet like that and wrap the
Okay, we have the sheet.
entire component inside.
Okay, and he now says we to put the sheet here, we take this away, and we put this. But we need, it's enough if we take this here, and this here, and the menu there. So that's basically how it is. Cannot find name sheet. Oh, and we need to import again the sheet. So import, I always forget that. Sheet from, and then this is now, we probably have to change this again. UI, no, dot slash UI slash sheet, and then this, and then probably we change this now.
But I'm going to replace this from /component.
Okay, and now he did this actually differently. So he puts the button, and the menu here, and we do add components.ui.sheet, and the sheet is now, yeah, this looks good.
It's like this. It's still going to work. And I'm going to replace this with the sheet trigger. Sorry, I'm not going to replace anything, but
So now he says, here we do the sheet, and now we do sheet trigger.
wrap it inside of sheet trigger.
Okay, now the sheet trigger gets in here, and then this gets moved out. And then we import sheet and sheet trigger. So this is UI. And so what we can see here, right, it has the sheet trigger. So let's see.
Yes. And one thing I just want to tell you is don't accidentally import stuff from Radix, because there are similarly named components from Radix, which are the underlying library that Chatcn uses. So whenever you import stuff from Chatcn, like sheet or button or sheet trigger, make sure it's from /components UI sheet or .ui, like this. So just make sure there's no Radix in your imports. We are not going to work with Radix directly. Great. And just below that, add sheet content. Also,
okay, and then after the sheet trigger, we have content. And then probably we have to put the sheet content here.
from UI components like this. So I'm just going to collapse this so it's importing.
Okay, then he wants to make this a bit nicer. So basically he says sheet trigger, sheet content, and then probably that way.
In that way. And
He said exactly the same.
Right here,
and then he says, okay, sheet content.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a property side to be left.
Okay, he wants to give a property side equals left. So that's probably exactly the sheet content. And that's here. Use the side property to sheet content to indicate, see sheet content side left, to indicate the edge of the screen where the component will appear. So this is exactly the left, right?
Class name of.
Okay, and then he wants to add a class name.
P-0, so I'm removing.
Okay, he wants to do P/0. That's probably the padding is equals to 0.
Pre-made padding inside. And I'm simply going to render this sidebar component.
Okay, and now within, he wants to put sidebar
from /sidebar.
And then we need to import sidebar from dot. I think we only have it that way, right?
Like this, or from /components sidebar like that. And if you click now,
okay. So mobile sidebar is now red. Okay. Okay, sheet content. Site equals left, class name equals P0. And then we close. Not sure what is wrong here, to be honest. Sheet content, sheet trigger, and sheet. We have them all here. We can do, I think it doesn't matter, to be honest, but. No, it's on the same level. We just try to see what happens. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure what is wrong here. So let's quickly Oh, but we have imported sidebar. Okay, we have imported the menu from Lucid React. We have import button from add components UI button. We have import here sheet, sheet content, sheet trigger, and then from add components UI sheet, and import sidebar from add components sidebar. So components, add components sidebar, and then constant mobile sidebar equals these bracelets. This one opens, this one closes, return, this one opens, this one closes, export default mobile sidebar. Then we have the sheet in here. And then we have sheet trigger, which opens here and which closes here. And within the sheet trigger, we have the button variant, ghost, size equals icon, class name equals md hidden. And then we have the menu. Then we have the button. Then we have sheet trigger. Oh, no, wait. Sheet trigger open, sheet trigger closed, sheet content. We do quickly reduce that. So if I delete this whole sheet content, it works. Okay, it has a problem with the sheet content. So let's okay. That's really weird because I mean we have here. So let's take the class name out. I think here we had something. Okay, we will do. Okay, let's see. Import this line is not standard JavaScript or TypeScript and seems to be specific to your project's configuration or tooling. Okay. Menu is imported from the Lucid. Button is imported from, this is a custom button component. Sheet imported from, or do I have to write this? I mean, it's the same as import from add components UI sheet. I mean, here we have sheet. Maybe that's actually correct. So let's copy code. Let's go here into Control-C. We close this. We install this and let's see what happens. Maybe it's actually true that I just don't have it installed for whatever reason. Or maybe I did some... So now we go back to mobile sidebar. Now we save, or we already saved all. Now we do npm run dev. See now, interestingly, see here now the next JS is version 14.0.4. Now we go back to our local host. We do 3000 dashboard. We maybe just have to wait a bit, not giving up too early. So now let's make this small. I don't know what this means. That's like a weird X. So maybe we can change the X. 3 errors. Oh, this was errors before. So now dashboard conversation image settings. That's nice. And we can close it. Don't know how we can change this weird thingy here to a normal X, but despite this, and despite maybe this weird white line that we have here, I think it actually looks quite nice already. I actually like it like this more, but that's also not that bad. Okay, so now we can go on.
Look at this, absolutely amazing. Do you see how cool this looks? Exactly what we wanted. And of course, on desktop, there is no toggle button. Perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. And one more thing, let's see if we can improve this. Actually, you know what? It's fine for now. Let's leave it as it is. We're going to change the colors later on. You can see that our X button is actually dark, but we're going to solve that later. For now, this is what I want to do for this part of the tutorial. Great, amazing. One thing that we're going to add later in the sidebar when we add subscription is that little feature on the bottom that is counting how many free generations we have. But we're going to get to that once we implement Stripe and all the other things. Great, great job so far. Let's continue and let's actually create our dashboard page right here.
Okay, so now we're actually at 1 hour and 6 minutes of this tutorial out of 5 hours and 33 minutes. So my videos, I think, are already at least 2.5 to 3 hours long. And there are some things that I haven't recorded simply because I was dealing hardcore with the clerk authentication because something didn't work. And I had no clue what it was until I actually figured it out, or not. But at some point it just worked. And I think I know it was more with redirecting and not saving everything. And for that reason, really beginner mistake. But it took me, I think, 4 hours of just trying to figure it out without it working until I realized that I just have to click save all and then reload, and then apparently it works. So that's what I learned now. So never just click save, but click save all. Sounds obvious, but if you just try to do it and learn it, it maybe is a bit too much, but this is great. So now we have the sidebar done, and the next one will be building out the dashboard. So there, if we make this video a bit smaller, the tutorial, and see, does he actually have, he has a time stamp. So now we go through the dashboard, and then after we have done the dashboard, which takes us 14 minutes of this whole video, but I mean, the sidebar also was just 26 and took us ages. Then we actually come to the AI and we do the conversation AI UI and then the API, and then we do the code generation, image generation, music generation, video generation. So I think this will be fab. I'm really looking forward to it. And then we do the API limit UI counter. Then we do a pro modal UI, which I'm not 100% sure. Then we do the Stripe integration. We do error handling and customer support. Then we build the landing page, and I'm really excited about the landing page and how quickly we will be able to build the landing page. So it says it only takes roughly 20 minutes or even less, or 15 minutes, 16 minutes. So I'm really excited of how quick this will be working, because at the moment I build them no code with WordPress and Breakdance as a design tool. And then, just mainly with those two, but also with the payments, I use another tool, another SaaS tool. So I'm really excited to see how easy this will be if you want to build this by yourself. So because if this is more easy and more cost effective, to be honest, then I might also just build this myself in the future. Let's see, because these are mainly landing pages and then an LMS system, but he also has a tutorial for an LMS system, and I kind of wanted to build this myself so I don't have to basically do the payments of paying for a learning tool. But maybe there are other benefits of just using learning tools, because if something goes broken or something, or like other packages coming up, obviously then this might break and I'm not advanced and skilled enough to just fix it, not yet at least. So this is going to be interesting. But for now, I would say let's go on, do another roughly 20 to 30 minutes for this video. And let's go into the dashboard and how the dashboard development works. So we make the video large scale and go on.
But before we do that, I'm going to refresh a couple of times. I want to bring your attention that I'm getting these hydration errors right here. So let's quickly fix that. They're coming from this const mobile sidebar right here. So what I'm going to write is I'm going to write const.
Okay, so he also apparently gets errors. So maybe, like while I fixed my error, he apparently also gets errors. So don't ask me why, but he want to now fix this here. So he says constant mobile sidebar, and then he want to do another constant, and he put this here like this.
Mounted. Set is mounted.
Okay, he says is mounted, and then set is mounted.
Right here, use state. So what I'm going to write is I'm going to write const is mounted. Set is mounted right here, use state.
And then equals use state.
From React, default value.
Use state from React false. Okay, whatever that means.
Going to be false. Then I'm going to write a use it.
Okay, then he says
Act with
use effect.
We'll import from React the same place I did with.
Okay, and then import. If I use this automatically, so now if I use effect and use this from React, then it automatically imports this from React. So see, now we are getting more clever as well, just because we learned that I don't even have to write this import all the time. It actually does this automatically for me. Interesting.
State like this. And
okay, this again has like all these brackets. Oh no, these are wrong brackets. No, they are not wrong brackets. This is basically use effect, and then there is like one curly bracket. And then there is these brackets, and then there is this thingy, and then they opens a curly bracket like this.
Return an arrow function. I'm gonna.
And this is what I get lost at these thingies.
An empty dependency array.
Like this, and then like this.
And I'm just gonna write the set is mounted.
And use effect mounted
to true.
Okay. Don't ask me. I have no clue.
And in here, I'm gonna write if it's not mounted.
Okay, and then he says if is mounted,
return null, like
is mounted return null.
this. And now you can see that our hydration error has gone away. So this is a simple trick. You can fix components which are causing hydration error by the way they are rendered.
Okay, apparently it's a simple thing to close some errors. So now we have this constant. Let's quickly put this here and say, what does this code mean? And then so basically it says the code you've provided is a React functional component that uses the useState and useEffect hooks to control the rendering of a component. Here's what this code does. This line declares a state variable named isMounted using the useState hook. The initial state is set to false, indicating that the component is not initially mounted. I don't know what mounting is, so excuse me, but can you tell me what mounted actually mean for a total programming beginner? Okay, so certainly in the context of programming in React components, mounted refers to the state of a component in the lifecycle of a web application. Let me explain in simpler terms for a total programming beginner. Imagine a web page as a stage for a play. Each part of the play, like actors coming in and props being set up, happens at different times. In the same way, a web page is made up of different parts, components, and these parts also come to life at different times. Mounted means ready to perform. When we say a React component is mounted, we mean it has been set up and is ready to do its job on the web page, just like an actor is ready to perform on the stage. It's like the moment when the curtains on a stage are raised and the play starts. That's when the components on a web page become mounted. After a component is mounted, it can perform actions, show content, and interact with the user. Before it's mounted, it's like the actor waiting in the wings, not yet visible to the audience or ready to perform. In programming, we can control when a component becomes mounted and when it's removed from the stage unmounted using code. This control always allows us to ensure that everything is in place before we start showing things on the web page. So when you see code like the one you provided, which checks if a component is mounted, it's a way to make sure that certain actions or content are only performed or displayed after the component is fully ready to go, just like actors waiting for their cue to go onto stage. Interesting. So now let's see it again. So this line declares a state variable named isMounted using the useState hook. The initial state is set to false, indicating that the component is not initially mounted. The useEffect hook is used to execute code when the component mounts, i.e. when it first appears in the DOM. We have to check for DOM. The effect function simply sets the isMounted state to true when it runs. The dependency array is empty, which means the effect only runs when the component mounts. This mimics the behavior of the component did mount lifecycle method in class components. If is mounted, return null after the component mounts. It checks the is mounted state. If is mounted is false, it returns null. This conditional rendering is often used to handle scenarios where you want to delay rendering or perform certain actions only after the component has fully mounted. So basically, we only want to start this when it is ready to start. In summary, this code is a common pattern used in React to ensure that certain actions or rendering logic only occur after the component has fully mounted. It prevents any rendering or side effects from happening until the component is considered mounted. The use of the useState and useEffect hooks facilitate this behavior in functional components. Okay, great. Quick question. What does DOM mean in that context? Document object model. Okay. Document refers to a web page. A web page is essentially a document that you view in your web browser. Object represents the individual elements or parts of a web page. Each piece, content such as text, images, buttons, forms, and more is considered an object. Within the DOM, model suggests that these objects are organized and structured in a certain way, forming a hierarchical tree-like structure. This structure represents how elements on a web page relate to one another. So when we talk about the document object model, we are referring to a structured representation of a web page in memory. It's a programming interface that allows developers to access and manipulate the content and structure of a web page using code. Okay, the DOM represents the web page as a tree-like structure with the HTML document at the root and various elements branching out from it. Each element on the web page is an object within the DOM. Developers can use JavaScript to interact with the DOM. They can read and modify the content attributes and styles of web page elements. The DOM is what enables dynamic web pages. When you interact with a web page by clicking buttons, filling out forms, or receiving real-time updates, it's often because JavaScript is manipulating the DOM in response to your actions. In summary, the DOM is a crucial concept in web development as it provides a structured way for developers to work with and manipulate the content behavior of web pages through code. Okay, and ChatGPT used it here. No, it used it above. Okay, when it first appears, useEffect hook is used to execute code when the component mounts, i.e. when it first appears in the DOM. Okay, when apparently it's kind of becoming visible, I guess. Okay, so not 100% sure if I can ever redo this whole thing, but probably just being aware that you can do it that way and that this way you can do conditional rendering. I mean, I'm also not 100% sure about rendering yet, but I guess we're getting there. Let's quickly close this. Okay, now let's go on. Probably want to go back to the app.
So now that we have that, and still, before we go and do something on the dashboard page, I quickly want to go back in my components inside sidebar.tsx.
Okay, still no dashboard. So let's go back to sidebar. You want to do something, but let's quickly save all.
Right here. And what I want to do here is I want to mark this as use client. All right, we already did that. And then what I want to do is add a path name. So const path.
Okay, so he wants to do, don't ask me why, but const sidebar, and within he want to do a const path
Name is equal to use path name.
Path our name, don't ask me. Use path. We want to call this path name.
Like this, and we have to import that from next navigation. So go ahead.
I'm not sure if it's called path name or path name, but we have to import this. Import Montserrat, so import.
And import use path name from Next slash navigation.
From navigation.
Like this. Perfect. And now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click a command which is going to collapse all the code inside so it's not like spreading around, so you can see everything in one file right here. And I'm going to find my routes.map link component, and you have see this huge class name that we...
Okay, so now Boots class name. It says, but let's quickly save this. He said command. I'm not sure what command is. Command key. Let's quickly see. German. I'm in Germany, so I have a German keyboard. Look, it doesn't want to give me that. That's so long. Really don't know why it is so complicated. Command seems a bit complicated. Control plus this one. Okay, let's just try that. Doesn't work. We don't do this now.
Well, we have...
I mean, yeah.
Dynamic. That's because right now in my sidebar, you have no idea what route am I on, right? But I am on slash dashboard. So what I would expect is that dashboard is looking like this, like when I'm hovering on it, right? But I want it to be like that regardless if I'm hovering or not. I want it to show to my users that that is the currently active page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the start of this class name, the end of this class name, and I'm going to wrap the entire thing in curly brackets like...
Okay, he wants to put the whole thing into curly brackets. Yeah, I know.
this. And then I'm going to use this very same CN tool. So CN, I'm going to open parentheses and then...
Okay, and now we want to have CN, and then we open them, and then we close them. So that's the same that we used below here.
The end of the annotations. So now the entire class name is inside of the CM. If I refresh, everything is staying exactly the same. Then I'm going to add a comma to add ID.
Okay, and now
class name.
Okay, transition dot comma. Okay.
Here, and I'm going to expand this as much as I can.
Okay.
Like that. And I'm going to write if path name, so if current path name is...
Okay, if path name
equal to this route href, that means
equals route href.
Obviously, it is currently active, and we have to highlight it in some way. But I'm having an error here. Let's see. I think I made a mistake. Yes. So const path name like this. Great. So now that we have the const path name, I can compare that. I can add a question mark, and I can...
Okay. Question mark.
add a dynamic class name, which is going to be text-white and page -white/10.
It says dynamic class white.
Else, I'm going to use text-sync dash.
And then he says, else I'm going to use text sync
400 like that. So now you can see that my dashboard is highlighted by default because I am on /dashboard. If yours is not highlighted, make sure that it's not misspelled right here in the routes constant. Beautiful. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and let's actually create our dashboard page. So I'm just going to expand it.
Okay, so now finally we can start with the dashboard after we did some additional stuff here. Save all, we did that. So that's quite cool. So let's go away, refresh this whole thing. So the reason is, so basically we can click on conversion, then we get an error, or like we get this 400 page, so it doesn't work yet. But what we did, and we don't see it yet because all the other ones don't work, but this one now is highlighted, but it is highlighted because we are in this one. If we are in conversation at one point, then this one will be highlighted. So basically this one kind of stays fixed in a way. And then there we have all the actions, but the user always knows where we are here because it highlights then this specific thingy. So if we look at that, so what it does is this class name in the CN. So I'm not 100% sure about that yet, but well. So basically it says had this all in the CN thingy. And then it says path name, if the current path name is root HRF, so that's probably the question. If this one is this one, like this question mark, if it is, so if this path name, wherever we have it here, the constant path name, use path name. So if this one is this, then it has this like highlight, otherwise it doesn't have probably any highlight. Well, okay, sorry for the yawning. Let's go on. And now we come to the dashboard. And we will start with the dashboard, but then we will probably do all the other things about the dashboard later on. And then we also, with the sidebar, we will add and adapt this. But now, it's so cool. Now the sidebar is done. Now we build the dashboard. We have to make this a bit bigger so we can actually see the dashboard here. So we did save all, right? Now let's start with the dashboard, but probably we do only another 20 minutes maximum. And then we will do the next video later on. So let's get started.
Bits. I'm going to close everything. I'm going to go inside the app folder, inside.
Okay, now he wants to go to the app folder, dashboard, and then probably, oh, he wants to do roots. Okay, app auth dashboard. Let's see.
For the routes dashboard and page.ts.
Dashboard and page.tsx. Yeah, so here we have basically very little at the moment.
Text right here, where we have this page right here. Let's go ahead and let's remove this text and let's create a div.
Okay, so removing this, which made sense, and including an additional div.
with the class name of,
and we call it
text, my apologies, margin bottom dash 8 space dash.
Okay, you want to call it margin bottom 8 space y
dash 4. And
dash 4.
inside, let's create an h1 element.
Okay, and inside he wants to create an h1 element.
Maybe better h2 element.
Okay, you want to call this h2.
That. And let's just write explore the power of AI like.
I think this is the first real text that I see. So there's very little text. Mostly it's just, using stuff. Okay, explore the power of AI.
Yes. And let's give it a class name.
And then h2 also get a class name. Apparently everything has a class name here.
Of text-2xl.
Text.2xl.
That's going to be on small devices, but the medium device.
Okay, so this is for small devices, but on medium devices,
we can increase it even more. So text-4xl.
It's text.4xl.
Like that. Let's give it a font bold, and let's give it a text center like this.
And text center.
There we go. Below that, I'm going to add a text.
Okay, file, save all. Oh, this looks better. So if we make this, it gets a bit smaller. And then below this, it gets a P.
Graph, which is going to say chat with the smartest AI experience the power of AI. Or
Obviously, I can change that later.
whatever text you want, it doesn't really matter. And let's give this a
And then this gets a class name.
class name of text-muted-4. Brown.
Interesting.
Like this, and you can see how now it's a bit muted. And if you're wondering where did this class name came from, that's because this is not a class name from Tailwind CSS. This is a class name from Shadcn UI, so that's why it's working here. Now let's use font-light. And let's give it the text of small on mobile. Devices, but on medium, we're going to use text-LG. So the larger text. And let's use text-center. Looks nice and in the center. Perfect. Now outside of this div right here,
Okay, so edit, save all. That's really like not only one, but two, but three times the same thing. But well, so chat with the smartest AI, experience the power of AI. Now we have the P and then the div closes. And then we have another div here. So this P div closes, div opens, div closes. Yeah, that's fine.
and another div.
Okay, now he wants another div with the class name equals to
class name of px-4
okay, px4.
On mobile devices. On medium is going to be.
So he basically is, so mobile devices is always the first one, the px4, so the normal one, and then md is basically the non-mobile version. So this is the medium version.
px20 on large is going to be px32.
And now he even makes a difference because he says on large ones it's px32.
And space dash y dash.
And then he says space y4.
4. Beautiful. Now let's go ahead.
Okay, now let's save this. Now he wants, I think, to import stuff. Well, let's see.
And let's mark this page as use client.
No, he only want to mark this as use client.
So we're going to have some interactive elements instead. What we have to do now is we have to create our tools array so we can iterate.
Okay, so he wants to create tools arrays, whatever that is.
Over them right here. So let's write the const tools.
Okay, now we write this here. Tools equals
is equal an array of objects.
Okay, is equal to an array. And then
X is going to have a label of conversation.
Okay. Label. I'm not 100% sure anymore what exactly we do, or how exactly it will look like, but I think it will be probably a dashboard where we can choose which one we want to choose, like which of the tools we want to click on to then go to those specific tools. But we will find out.
Like that.
Label conversation. Okay, probably 7 more minutes and then we may make a stop here.
Icon of
and then icon
is square.
Icon message square. Let's see if this is correct.
And you can import message square from Lucid React like this.
Okay, this was correct.
Let's give it the color of text-violet -500. Let's give it a BG.
And then BG color, probably. I don't know.
Color of text-violet -500 select. Then, my apologies, not text, but BG.
Okay.
And let's give it
Okay, comma.
an href of slash.
Href. Probably.
Conversation like that. And now inside of here, let's go ahead and let's iterate over our tools.
So now these are basically, this is an array of all these tools. And now we want to iterate them here. So
tools.map.
Okay, not that way. I wanted to be clever, but apparently it wasn't. tools.map.
Tool.
And then let's see if this thingy does something for us automatically. No, it doesn't. So we have to do double double, and then we put tool in there. And then we have 1 or 2. Oh God. 1, I think. Two curly brackets that way.
And immediately go ahead and return.
Okay, we have only 1 here. So not a second one. And also not a second one here. 1, 2, 3 open. 1 open. 1 open. 2 open. 1 closed. 1 open. 2 open. 2 closed. Okay, that makes sense.
A new element that we need, which you can get from ShadCN UI. So we have to go to ShadCN UI and add a new component.
Okay, file, save all. He wants to have a different component now. It doesn't work because, we just have crashed it.
So let's go in here, and in the sidebar, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find the...
So he wants to have components.
Card element, right?
Okay, let's see, he wants to have the card element. So what's this? Create project, name framework. Example. Okay.
Here, so this is what we want. I want this element right here. So I'm going to use this command npx shadcn-ui at latest add card.
Okay, so we go for code. No, not there. But we can actually see import label, import, and then, okay. That's complex. But let's do copy for this one. Go to terminal. We probably have to close that.
I'm going to copy the command as npm, and I'm going to go inside of my terminal, and I'm going to paste the command right here. I'm going to confirm that I want to install it, and I'm going to run npm run.
Okay, and then when I'm done, I run the dev again. So now when we go to our UI, we should have here the card. So now the card is basically installed as well.
Dev like this. So make sure you refresh your project after that. Beautiful. So now we have a new component in our components style. Great. So go ahead and add that.
Okay, so we add this here. Basically. And now see UI card. Not sure if that's correct, but let's see.
So card from add/components UI card. Make sure you've imported it like
import card from C. That's really practical. It does it automatically.
And I'm going to separate my imports. Beautiful. And let's go ahead.
Okay, that's not working like that. So this works better.
And let's give it a key of...
Okay, we want to have here a key of
/components UI card. Make sure you've imported it like this, and I'm going to separate my imports. Beautiful. And let's go ahead and let's give it a key of tool.
Okay, key equals tool harvef.
Draft like this. And I'm just going to collapse this element like this because I'm going to add a bunch of class names so it's a bit more readable for all of us. Let's go ahead and let's write last name.
Okay.
To be P-4 border dash.
Okay.
/5 plex items dash center justify dash between over shadow dash md transition and cursor dash pointer like this. Beautiful. So now you can already see a little box right here that has appeared.
Okay. Okay, we need to wait probably. See, he already said there is a box now. So the box is probably the card, because I mean, this is the card that we are using here. So in the card, we have the key tool. So it refers to the tools, I think. And the tools basically that we have here. So yeah.
Because I have one element in tools and I am iterating over it and rendering this card with this class names. And this class name has a class that when we hover, we add a little shadow to it right here. So I can even zoom in so you can see a bit better. It's very subtle, but I think it looks nice. Great. Now inside of that card, create.
Okay, inside of the card, we create a div.
A div, the class of flex items dash center and gap dash x dash 4 like this. And inside of that, you're going to create a new
Okay.
div with a class name. Open curly bracket.
Oh.
Use the CN library from add/libs utils like this.
Okay. Let's see. Import cn from /lib-utils. Okay.
And go ahead and open parentheses. Let's write some default classes. So that is going to be p-2 w-fit.
Okay.
And the rounded dash md. And a dynamic class name is going to be tool.bgcolor.
And then he says dynamic class name tool.bgcolor.
Beautiful. And inside, we're going to render tool.icon.
Okay, and now tool.icon,
which is a self-posing tag. And I'm going to give it the class. Again, curly.
Okay, class name of curly brackets,
Open CN.
CN,
and parentheses inside W-8 and H.
WSH and H dot
8 for the default class and
H8 for the default class and
dynamic class is going to be tool.color.
and dynamic one tool.color.
This. There we go. So you can see how nice that looks.
So now let's... Okay, so basically what he does is he has the card, then he has the key tool 8. So he basically probably constant tools. So this is a tools map. So this is keys, the tool, the reference to the tools, and then the class name. The first one is basically just the box. Then we have another div, which is this thingy here. So basically the flex item center gap. And then we have a div class name, which is then tool background color. So this is just flex item center. So this is that it makes sure that this thingy stays on the left hand side. And then this is tool background color. So this light violet. And the background color is what we here define. So it's basically a dynamic class. And then, so now I think I get it. I think the reason is that the CN basically allows us to give us not only the P2 we fit rounded MD, but then it also allows us to use the tool background color. So basically here, this one, if we scroll a bit. So basically tool background color and then pool color and then tool href. Interesting.
Perfect. And now, just below this div, which is rendering our icon.
Okay, now this div.
Go ahead and create a new div. With a class name of font-sim. The bold like this, and inside you're going to render.
And then inside
tool.label, like
tool.label.
that. Beautiful. And now I'll.
Okay, I think I get it now. I mean, at least I get it. So this is what it does, right? So it basically has the box now. And so we did this now, and then we can do this basically. So we create this once. this div class name and then the tools map. So we map the tools here with this within this div. And so they're basically within the tools map. So it should be like 4 different cards. But the cards are all dynamically rendered from this array that we define over here. Because there we have the, we have the key, which is the tool href, which is this one. So this is where we want to probably, like direct it to. Then we have the class name. This is how this box looks like. So with the shadow hovering over and everything. Then after we have defined that, the card, we have a div within the card. And so there is one div that and justify between, I think, is that they go like next to each other. And then we have this flex item center gap x4. So this is like this thingy goes over here. Then we have the div class name where we say p2, we fit rounded md, but then this is like fixed. And then which is not fixed, but which is dynamic is the tool background color, which is what we find here. And then the same, the tool color. So this is here. And then the tool label. So, and then we have a new div, which is next to it. And then there we put the class name and we want to have it font semi-bold. And because we don't want to, we don't need it in an additional div or something because, yeah. Why? Because we have the div and we don't need this one to have additional stuff. Maybe that's just a faster way to write it, I don't know.
Side of this last div, but still.
Okay, the last div, but still within the card.
Inside the card element, you're going to render arrow right component.
Okay.
From Lucid-React, like this.
Okay, arrow right, do we have created this? Yes, so all arrow right, so basically Lucid React, I think are just little icons, but let's see. Yeah, so these are just.
And it is a self-closing tag, just make sure you've imported it here at the top. And let's go ahead and give it a class name.
Basically everything class name here.
Of W-5 and H-5.
Okay. H5, so width 5, height 5. So let's see. Oh, it became a bit smaller.
Like this. Beautiful. And now let's go ahead and let's actually add some more tools right here. So I'm going to copy the.
See, so this is exactly what he's doing now. So we created now how it has to look like, but now we have to add basically more tools here in these constant tools. So we probably make a comma here and then copy paste.
Same way we did with.
Yes, so we copy paste this, we do comma, and then probably we have the other labels.
Sidebar. So I'm going to write for the second one to be music generation.
So we have label, music generation, then icon.
The icon I'm going to use is music, so import that from music.
Then music. So here we included this.
React. The color is going to be emerald.
Okay, text. Emerald. Background. Emerald. And the href will be music.
Like this. And the href is going to be /music, like that. Let's go ahead and copy that again. And
label. Now it is okay, whatever.
Don't forget to add a comma. The third one is going to be image generation. It's going to
Well, let's do it that way. Even though that's not 100% correct, I mean, not correct, but it's not, like exactly the same, how do you say, how it's seen here. So, like we do music and then we do something else, but whatever. What is doing now? Image, so maybe a bit of playing around. Image, I forgot, like,
an icon of image icon.
okay, icon is image icon, so we have this here.
To import that from Lucid React as well. I'm just going to collapse this so it's a bit nicer to look at.
Okay, he always do this import and then arrow right, image, message, music. So just looking a bit nicer.
There we go. So we have the image icon now. Let's change the color to be pink. And
Okay, pink. But I think we have this at 700. If I'm not correct. We have to change this again. Pink. 700, let's see.
we can use 500 but 700 for both of these colors. And href is going to be /image.
Okay, but let's quickly file save all. Ha! Doesn't this look nice? That's so cool. That's so cool. Look how cool that is. Okay, but there's some more.
Beautiful. Let's copy that. Don't forget.
Then we copy that again. So we make a comma.
A comma. This one is going to be video generation. So video.
Okay, so we do video generation.
Image is going to be video icon.
Okay, this is video icon. Video icon. Very good. Which text, which color?
And make sure you have that imported from Lucid React. The color right here is going to be orange 700.
Okay, so orange. I don't know how he does this, but he kind of changes these two at the same time, but well, we do this later. Video, and I think then we have like one more with the code.
And let's go ahead and copy the last one, which is
yeah, so this is the last one. So basically we have this, we have a comma again, and then I think we have code generation, if I'm not correctly. Code generation, let's see.
The code generation. The icon is going to be code. So
okay, icon is code only. Lucid React. Let's quickly check. Here's the code.
Make sure you have imported that from Lucid React, and the color is going to be green like this. And
then green. No, that doesn't work, so we don't do this now.
href is going to be code.
Href is going to be code.
And we also have to change the href for video to /video like.
Oh, we changed the video already, so that's fine.
Beautiful, absolutely amazing. You can see how nice this looks even on desktop and on mobile as well. Perfect. And just one more thing.
Okay, so do File, Save All. That's so cool. That's just so cool. And what he said as well, look, it looks that when we make it big and when we make it smaller and smaller, it still looks really cool. And now wait for the magic to happen. It still looks so cool here. And if we do that, then we have that here and we can close that. That's so cool. I'm so excited. That's really, really cool. Not sure if I could, like build this by myself now, not yet, but I think it already looks really nice. I'm really excited if we add the AI now, which we will be doing, however, in the next video. But let's finish the dashboard.
I want to add before we wrap up the dashboard page is that when we click on these cards.
So he says, we have to go back over here. So if we click on the cards, so it's open this card before the key.
Go ahead and find the tools.map, find the card element and write on click.
Okay, so he wants to have on click equals
to be an arrow function. And right now we actually can't do anything. We have to add the router. So
okay, I have no clue what he wants to do here. But now he said constant dashboard page, and we do one constant here.
The router is equal to
Constant router is equal to use router. I don't know.
Router, but not from next/router. We have to use next/navigation.
From next/navigation. And then these arrows.
Like this.
Oh no. Use router. Let's see if we have this here. Import use router from next navigation.
To make sure you have imported use router from next/navigation, and I'm going to move that to the top right here. Perfect.
Okay, he wants to move this to the top.
Now that you have this constant use router, let's go ahead and finish this arrow function.
Okay, now he wants to finish that one.
He's going to write router dot put.
Okay. Dot push
tool.a.
dot href.
Grab like this. There we go. So now when I click on conversation, we are redirected to /conversation.
So it basically says on click router push. So we are routed to the tool href. And we needed, however, first we needed to use router here in the next navigation. And secondly, constant router I'm not sure why we have to input this here again, but well. Okay.
But we get a 404 because that does not exist yet, and that is true for all of those here. Beautiful. You have finished the dashboard page for your application. You have a working sidebar and a mobile sidebar as well. You also have implemented authentication. Great job. We can now finally go ahead and create our first AI tool, which is going to be the conversation. Great job so far. Now it's time to create our conversation page. So what I'm going to do.
Okay, I would love to go on, but it's very late here with this video. And so we will make a break with this video. And then with the next video, we will be going and building the pages and the tools for the conversation, music, image, video, and code generation with AI. So I think this will be really amazing. So I'm really looking forward building that and seeing how it will work out. I know that there are some technical difficulties, especially because apparently the API with OpenAI from which it uses the AI is changed since he made the video. So this will be a bit of a tricky part, especially as we know, right, for someone that is not used to program and code. But I think it will be quite amazing, and I hope we will make it work. So for that, let's stop here with this video. I hope this was helpful. And yes, well, see you in the next video.